What were your impressions of Jimmy out there?
2 days in a row of 7-on-7. Some good things, some bad, but just taking the reps like everyone else.
Can you just give an overall assessment of what stood out to you today?
It was the second day of practice, so you're always scared the first day because everyone's so excited, so you're just trying to get out of there with no injuries. Today was very similar. I mean, we didn't change the practice schedule at all. Put in a couple of different things in all three phases, but mainly just getting the guys' feet wet, going through this stuff, and they're competing here and there, but everything's scripted right now. We're not getting off script at all, so I thought it was a successful day.
What is the plan for Jimmy? To continue to keep him out of team and then sprinkle him in later? Or?
No, I mean, he won't be cleared for full team until training camp. He's on the same plan as Jed, and if Jed only threw the ball, we'd let him do 7-on-7 too, but we can't have the risk of guys around his legs.
He seems to be, doesn't look like he's hindered at all, Kyle. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I believe so. I think that would be the case for most quarterbacks in this situation. You're just sitting there doing a drop and stuff like that. And so, I mean, if you ask Jet to do a drop and throw the ball, he wouldn't look hindered. His arm won't look as good throwing, which he'd take offense to because he was a college quarterback. But no, he's doing a good job. It takes him a while to fully be able to protect himself and react and get people away from their legs.
How's he handling the balance of being able to do those sevens but not pushing his workload to the point of, stress or things like that?
I think that'd be a good question for him, but I think he's handling it as well as he can. He's getting used to it. That's just a long process when you recover from an ACL, and he gets as much work as he can get in. I know he'd love to be out there for every rep, but he knows that he can't, so he's trying to make the most of his 7-on-7 and do as much work in every other aspect as he can.
I don't know the chances of something happening or beyond remote, but when it starts raining, are you like, maybe Jimmy should be done for the day?
No, yeah.
Stupid question.
If we didn't wear cleats, that would bother me. Rain, I don't think, we're not playing basketball. You got cleats in, and, ice is different. If you have a bad field, it's different, but no, you don't. You can tear his ACL in rain. I don't look at rain that way.
How are you using the running back rotation? It looks like you're going to limit Jet through these OTAs, but how are you working in Breida, Coleman, other guys?
Breida can't go, so we only have 3 guys going right now. So we have to take advantage of those 3 and use them. All our other guys are recovering. Breida tweaked his pec, so he can. It's frustrating for Breida because he can do just about everything. We just got to avoid contact for him, so he can't be out there running with other people on the field. So that means he can't do anything till training camp. And then we have Raheem, his injury from the season. We have Jet, so we got 3 guys going right now, and with Juice helping out, which is enough for rotations. But if we ever lost a guy, we'd have to change our reps out.
Mostert is still dealing with the arm issue?
Yeah, he had a little setback with the surgery. I'm not exactly sure what that was, just in how the bone grows back together, and they noticed it early, so they just started it over, which I think cost him about 4 weeks.
Did he have to have have it reset?
Yeah.
So more hardware went in?
Maybe I don't know. I would assume so. They had to redo the exact same thing. It's just how I'm definitely going out of my area of expertise, but it's how the callus grows back together, and when you notice it's not growing back together the right way, it's better to start it over, especially when we have the time. So it's not too big of a deal. It just added another month. Yeah, so he's out there running around, taking handoffs and stuff, but you got to wait till that callus fully heals. That's not worth it till training camp.
And was Breida's injury a conditioning or?
It was from lifting, yeah.
Is it a torn pec?
It was slightly torn, which you would think anytime you hear torn pec, I think back to like Malcolm and stuff, which was a year. It's not like that. He is going to miss OTAs. You can see him running around out there, and he does everything with us and looks fine, but we got to be smart with that.
And no surgery?
No surgery, no.
Should be ready for training camp?
Yes, yeah.
Just overall, I know broadly in these players, they're all individual cases, but are you worried at this time of year that so many guys are missing time?
You go off experience, and this is the most time I've had of people missing OTAs, but we've been really healthy the last 2 OTAs, and it's been the opposite of camp, so maybe it'll be the opposite this year. We're not healthy in OTAs, which is maybe a good sign for training camp. I know which one I'd rather have. We knew this going into this year. We knew we had, I think it's 12 guys before this started that we knew wouldn't be participating in OTAs. And then you got your 6 new guys who some things have come up, which is pretty normal. But when you stack that up, it is different with reps and things like that. And hopefully that'll lead to a better training camp.
What was Hurd's issue?
Just the same stuff from coming out of college. He's just not fully there yet. He's been here with us for a week. We want to make sure he gets a couple more weeks in of conditioning. He didn't start getting cleared to run until a few weeks before the draft, and to only have him for a week, we want to make sure we get a little bit more to get him in football shape.
How do you like what you're seeing out of Jordan Matthews and Deebo Samuel?
2 days. I've been here longer with Jordan. He's been here since the start of the offseason. He's been working his tail off and learning a new offense, and really, you can tell he's been around. You can tell he's a vet, and he's got some leadership qualities. And Deebo's been here a week just like the other guys, and it's good to get him in 2 practices now. And tomorrow we'll be able to review the film and do all that, and hopefully he'll have a good one to finish this week on Thursday.
Solomon's obviously been through a lot over the last year. Just being around him now, what's his mindset and kind of approach from what you gathered being there?
I think he spoke a little bit about it, but stuff I've heard him say, I've totally seen with my own eyes. Just being around him a number of times in the off season, at a couple charity things and things like that. Just talking to him, you could tell he's. We all know what he went through and stuff, but you could see he's got a little more. He's got his aura back to him. You can see it in his eyes. You can feel his energy a little bit better, and definitely seems like he's in a better place. We all know grieving can be as hard as it gets and takes people a long time, but you can see he's doing better, and just to see him out there in practice, I don't see his face now. He's got a helmet on out there, and to watch his body and how he's moving, I've been very impressed with him in this month we've had with him.
He's slimmer? He lost some weight?
I'm not sure. I haven't checked his weight. I wouldn't think so. I know he's stronger, but I'm not sure on the weight. Might be that the other guys around there are getting bigger too, so I'm not sure.
Is the schedule and the plan and the goals for this month different in year 3 than it was in year 1?
Not totally. You always want more competition, and you want to set that up with your roster, which we've done, and you want to continue to get better. But you also got to be very smart. Our starting quarterback's not out there. Our running back, we have a lot of guys not out there. So it's not about just you got to be smart with what you have, and you got to install things. You don't just start. Hey, we've been here 3 years, so let's start on day 6 of the offense or defense. We got a lot of new guys out there, at every position on both sides of the ball. So there's so much turnover in the league. You can't just always pick up where you left off. There's got to be a little bit of a foundation that you put in. This week's probably the easiest one we have. In days 1, 2, and 3, it'll be the exact same thing in training camp, days 1, 2, and 3. For me as a coach, it's sometimes frustrating. I always want to get to the next thing and try something that I know we need to improve at, but you can't ever lose that foundation. We'll get there, but you can't skip the steps.
Do you feel like the guys who've been here all 3 years share that feeling of like, all right, here we go again?
Definitely. I'm sure Richard Sherman's heard a cover 3 install quite a bit. I'm sure Staley knows what 2-jet protection is. They've all done it, but players always want to be intrigued with something or inspired to do something new, but they all know also that if you get away from the fundamentals and just football 101, it's hard, and not everyone's ready just to start at the 5th step. You got to start at step 1 and build your team there, and that's what we're doing.
What's the health status of Fred Warner and Malcolm Smith, and also what have you seen from Drake Greenlaw?
Greenlaw's got a lot of reps because Fred's not going. Fred won't go until training camp. Fred had some residual stuff on his knee that was bothering when he got back, so we waited a week to see if it'd go away. It was still lingering, so we just cleaned it up, which, that stuff lingered with him a little bit last year. Those things happen. We're hoping it could go away so we could get OTAs, but the fact it was still there, we're not going to risk it, so he's cleaning it up now. And it stinks not to have him at OTAs for us and for himself, but it's better to know he won't have to deal with it in training camp. And then Malcolm's going individual and stuff. He's still working to get back, and we hope we can have him later in OTAs.
So Greenlaw playing Mike early on? It seemed like
No, he played Sam yesterday, and I believe he played outside linebacker today also.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when Smith gets worked back in, is he a Sam or a Will, or do you have all those guys sort of rotating?
With us doing, our guys are, in the past here when we didn't play mini-9 techniques at all, our Sam linebacker was always on the ball.
Right.
That's why I always kind of talked about him in more of a 3-4 standpoint. It's just, that's how offensive guys view it. When you mix in a lot more nines and stuff, you have 3 linebackers off the ball, which makes those guys a lot more interchangeable. So now it's just true 2 outside backers, and you got a Mike who plays in the middle. We can still put guys on the ball, whether it's the Sam or the Will. Depends if they're to the 3 technique or the bubble. But it's a lot. They're all the same bodies now. You know, that Sam linebacker had been. It's more what we went to in the year. You know, when we started playing more in Zacha and Malcolm, when we traded Eli. And now that we are playing more nines, we can put them a lot more off the ball. So they're a lot more interchangeable.
Just to clarify, when you say cleanup for Fred, he had surgery?
Yeah, I don't know if it was a scope or what the word is, but yes, it wasn't like an antibiotic or anything.
How's Garrett's?
Some tool used.
Garrett Selleck isn't practicing either?
What's that?
Garrett Selleck isn't practicing?
No, Selleck is still in the concussion protocol, and he has a back issue, and he can't get cleared from that until training camp. So we're going to have to be patient with him, too.
You guys have made some moves that have tied in. How do you feel about that depth that you've added with Caden Smith and Toilolo?
I mean, I feel a lot better. You know, I think, you know, we're hoping to add a person in the draft, and then we got Smith. And, to have Levine still out there right now, and to get him in the situation we did, felt very excited about that. You know, I was able to coach Levine for 2 years, and great guy, and I think he can help our team.
All right.
All right, guys, thanks.